With Borderlands 4 around the corner, this has to be the best one yet. What's going on, everyone? It's Lo-Fi No, and today I want to be talking about my favorite game that is coming in a couple of days. It really is coming in a week, okay? And that is Borderlands 4. I grew up on this game. I love it to death. I'm not sponsored by the game, but I want to talk about it. If you like the content, then feel free to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button so you be tuned in on my channel, okay? We got stuff that's coming about Warframe. We got stuff that's not about Warframe. Right now we talking about Borderlands, and that right there is what's on my mind right now. So, any further ado, let's jump into this video. So, the Borderlands series has been a hit or miss for quite some years now. Borderlands 1, great gameplay, terrible traveling. Borderlands 2, hands down one of the best looting shooters that ever graced us consumers. But slag just made it worse. Pre-sequel, decent story, even good DLC if you talk about the Claptrap DLC. But the diversity with the weapons, and then also you're having to use this type of machine that makes you combine them together and then it pushes out a brand new one. That just wasn't it, man. It just wasn't it. Borderlands 3, worst god-awful story. I think we can all finally agree now, even though that wasn't really shocking. But what a lot of people love to fight about is the gameplay. I think the gameplay was the best hands down out of all the Borderlands except the Anointeds. Okay, I think the Anointeds is the worst thing they thought of because it wasn't about the guns anymore. Let's just be real, okay? Don't sugarcoat it. The Anointeds is what made the game, is what made the guns good, not the guns itself. Half the time you'll sit there, farm Anointeds on a specific type of weapon instead of just finally getting the right weapon and the right element. That was just bonkers to me. In Wonderlands, we all knew that was okay. Let's just be real. That game was terrible. Don't even want to talk about it. There's no way to even say anything about it. I didn't see anything good about it. It just wasn't it, gang. So Borderlands 4 to me has to be right. If this game does not be right, then really this is going to be the end of the Borderlands franchise. Just gonna be real, there's nowhere around that. But from what I have seen so far and what Randy and the team and the devs been cooking and what I have seen so far and like all the other YouTubers, bro, I'm excited, bro. I'm hooked. Okay, my balls is clenched. All right, I'm just hooked in. They got me by the balls. I gotta get it, which I made sure to get the full edition. So on that day, your boy will be playing on the day of release. Okay, so I want to talk about the biggest things that I think is really good that I like how Borderlands 4 has introduced, starting with number one, which is the weapons themselves. The fact that they thought that bringing different manufacturers into one particular gun and that becoming a thing, oh my god, that right there is so good. So like now we can have like a Vladov with a Jacobs with a Maliwan. You can't go wrong with that. Then you got a Hyperion with Torg. Like that right there, hands down, is phenomenal. Now it will be a little bit challenging to find like the best ones because they did scale back, which is a good thing from how they had in the Borderlands 3, where you was able to get like a exotic or a orange weapon like easy peasy, like without even trying. But with this, it's gonna be a little bit more scarce, but I think that is a fantastic thing to do. I'm just looking forward to the combinations that they're coming up with. Now that right there is gonna be really good. The next biggest thing I'm looking forward to is the build diversity, bro. Like that right there. Okay, if you play Borderlands 3, then you kind of understand, but Borderlands 3 did have one of the best like action skills and skills to really work on and just go down. It was the best. The diversity to it, the building quality, it was so good. Issue I found sometimes is you was kind of locked into certain builds, but when it came down to like the skills, the action skills, and picking out what you wanted to work with and what you thought was really good, and if you really was a person who loved farming for the anointed weapons, which I wasn't, then yeah, you had a pretty good time regardless of what type of build that you wanted to run. But Borderlands 4, bro, dude, there's so many ways to build one particular character. That right there already hooked. And the last biggest thing that I just thought it stood out to me the most was having to pick up a quest and then not having to run all the way back to Lilith or whoever in order to have that thing completed. Like that was so annoying. If you played any of the Borderlands games, you know how that feels. it just wasn't it. You will do a quest that'll take you to like 3 or 4 different areas. Let's say you picked up the quest from Pandora. Well, guess what, buddy? You got to go about probably 2 to 3 different areas unless you fast travel. Then it doesn't take that long. But still, you have to fast travel. And then after you get there, you do the quest. Guess what you got to do? You got to take your happy tail all the way back to Pandora just so you can turn that bad boy in. Like, come on now. I think finally, we don't have to do that no more. Now we got out the glazing. Okay, so this is me glazing the game. I love it to death. I'm looking forward to it again. I got to say that. But there's a couple of things that I am worried about with this game. And I'm hoping that they don't take the wrong missteps or take the wrong paths to like how some of the other Borderlands games. I really want to just see improvement from all the other games. Really take ideals that's from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 3, the pre-sequel, all of them, and then put it inside of this game because it has to be good. This game is just won't be it if it just won't. And the first thing I think I should drop on that note is the story. Now, I know everyone got their opinion about stories. I know everyone says that, you know, Borderlands 3 was the worst story known to man, which that is 100% true. But I'm gonna be real. I'm not a story person. I can care less about the story. I think if they wanted to go the route of just saying, you know what, we're gonna get rid of all the old characters anyway. We're gonna get rid of Roland, Lilith, all of them. Forget about them characters. We're just gonna give you a new cast. I am perfectly fine with that. But I don't like the replayability in that issue because most loot and shooters, or in Borderlands case, we are having to play through the story over and over and over. And that's with True Vault, that is normal mode, and that's with Ultimate if they do that route. And that right there gets tedious regardless, even if you did find the story really, really enjoyable. So maybe this is just a me thing, but I am hoping that there's maybe a way to get around this or not having to sit there and just replay through the story. If the story is good, then hey, that's another way for me to enjoy it. But if it's not, I won't be so torn. It's just the gameplay, the aspects, and how the game needs to be from Borderlands 3, in my opinion, just without the anointeds, is what I'm really looking for. I'm looking for that gameplay. That's what I really, really want to see and elevate on that. I really don't want to see like another terrible story or like Wonderlands gameplay. I just really, really don't. But if they got the terrible story, at least make your gameplay good at the end of the day. So I'm hoping the gameplay is top notch. The next biggest thing that I want to talk about, which I know we don't really know anything about it until the game comes out, and that is in-game. Okay, now look, if you're a person who's never played Borderlands in-games before, some of them are really enjoyable, some of them are really tedious. Let's just talk about Borderlands 3 for instance. Borderlands 3 in-game with overpowered, it sucked because again, you had to do this in Borderlands 2 as well. You had to go from level 0 all the way up to level, I think it's 10 and stuff. But I enjoyed that type of overpoweredness because it has randomified like different buffs and debuffs that made it enjoyable, that made it fun. But the issue I had is you had to reform for a lot of things. So let's just say that you was at OP5. Well, after you get to OP8 to OP9, you probably have to farm again in order to deal with that type of level of enemies. Me, I'm looking forward to that, but I'm hoping maybe there's a better way to deal with that, or just make it simpler than just sitting there having to reform it. But I know I'm asking for too much on that standpoint. I enjoyed the farming of it, and I do like, again, I like the Borderlands 3 type of overpoweredness. I think there's just a little bit better way to go with it, because how Wonderlands did it was just terrible, and that gave us 100. How Borderlands 2 was, let's be real, unless you had slag, there was no way you was gonna get over close to any of the other OP levels without slag. Borderlands 3 only had the right way, in my opinion, about it, but I disliked it that after everything was said and done, and let's say you did farm for your equipment again, the anointers is what held you back. And if you don't know what anointers are, it's basically this little buff on a gun that goes particularly to your character for that gun. So you may say like you get 50% gamma burst damage, or hey, Moses Bear stay on the field for a lot longer. So stuff like that, really. So if they are going to try to focus on in-game here, I really don't want them to make it to where they have to be a make or break for your character. I dislike that. I really disliked that issue in Borderlands 3. And I think anyone who thought that is a good idea, I don't really think that was a good idea in my humble opinion. I just really don't see how you can say to yourself that sitting there farming in OP10 or OP9 or OP1 that, okay, after I finally get this weapon, now I'm gonna refarm because it was not the right anointed, and my build particularly needed this type of anointed in order to work, and it just was not it. Next thing, raids. I think raids was really good especially in Borderlands 3. I find the raids really enjoyable. I think they need to bring it. I think they need to focus on a better way to make it more enjoyable to people who are running it by themselves, and as well as if you want to play with a group. I'm looking forward to seeing the raids because we were supposed to have more than what we had in Borderlands 3. So I'm hoping they really deliver on this, because the in-game and gameplay to me is what I'm really advocating for. I don't know about other people, but definitely that's what I care about. If you don't listen to anything what I'm saying, or you leave from this video, I care about gameplay and in-game only.
The next thing I don't want to see in Borderlands 4 is another arena. I'm sick and tired of arena. In every single Borderlands game, for some odd reason, we have arenas and they're all garbage. You can't tell me one good arena, any of the Borderlands series that we have ever had. Maybe we can fight about Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina Wonderlands DLC, maybe. But even then, it was annoying. Please stop bringing in arenas, or just make them better. Just make it better, because this wasn't it. Wonderlands was god awful. That was pretty much our end game. Borderlands 1 made no sense for it. Borderlands 2, I already brought up Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. And then Borderlands 3, we don't talk about it. So again, I don't want to see no arena. I forgot about pre-sequel. Pre-sequel is just trash, garbage tier. Don't even talk about it. So please do not bring back arenas. I'm hoping to God I do not see another arena. Or if it is an arena, please for some reason make it easier, or make it to where that we're jump to a certain part of it. I don't want to have like a mission that makes us do 100 rounds in arena, and then after I die that one time, I have to start all the way back to round 1. Okay, or make it to where maybe I go to one spot, I do this arena, if I fail it, then I have a TP thing that respawns me, and then I can retry in that same part for that arena. I just really don't want to see another one, because so far from what I have played, there hasn't been a good arena, and there's no way someone can really argue me this. The next thing I want to bring up is, I know I kind of already brought it up a little bit about the anointed part. I just don't want like the class mods, the grenades, the weapons and all that have to have a specific type of manufacturer for every little thing. Don't get me wrong, playing loot and shooter games, the whole point of them is to build a certain build for your character to make it shine. But what I felt as though Borderlands 3 really just did terrible at is the build diversity towards that. Because if you had a certain build that you liked it to run, the build could not perform at all levels, and you will have to run the better build. That's why I keep going back to like the Gamma Burst, for an example, or like Zane had a really good one that made it annoying if you want to run anything else. So if we're gonna have these types of manufacturer things that have to be really specific and everything, I just want it to be at least fairer or better, to where I'm not stuck to run this particular type of build that the game really wants us to run. And that pretty much wraps up everything that I want to talk about Borderlands, really. I don't have too much to say. I probably do, because really deep down I have a lot to say, but I don't want to make this video really long. I really just want to share my thoughts with the game and how I feel about it, since we only got like roughly a week left. And I'm dropping this video as soon as I get done recording it and working on it. So yeah, this is just my own feelings and own takes on it. You know, maybe if you hear from a different YouTuber, you may have a different opinion and stuff, or you may have your own opinions about it. Drop them down below if you have a certain opinion, or if you agree with some of the points I made or didn't. I really just want to see what everyone wants to say about Borderlands, since it's coming in a couple of days, Friday to be specific. And lastly, with me talking about this brings up like where my channel is heading, because I know I've been making a lot more like Warframe content and everything, but I feel as though I want to have fun and make different types of content. Maybe I want to talk about Borderlands, maybe I want to jump on Warframe, maybe I want to jump into a gacha game. It just depends on how I feel and stuff, but and just enjoying it really. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm falling in love with and stuff. I have a lot of ideas that I want to try out and everything. I just never really wanted to be held down by one particular game. That's how I honestly feel. And I know that's kind of weird, but hey, that's my channel. This is mine. Someone else may feel a little bit differently than me, but for me, that's how I want to run it. And I know I'm been talking about Borderlands and everything, but this is kind of like an update for me and my audience, I would say, to you guys about where my channel is really heading. I want to just improve on how I edit, as well as put out stuff that I find enjoyable. That's really it. So if you like the content, then feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned in when I make stuff, whether that's Borderlands, Warframe, anything. I will catch you guys in the next one.